I woke up on my 18th birthday thinking my biggest problem was whether Mom would embarrass me with that baby photo slideshow again. I was wrong. So incredibly wrong. My name is Emma, and I grew up in the kind of suburban home where the grass is always cut and the neighbors smile when you wave. Mom worked as a nurse. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. Safe. I never knew my father. At least, that's what I thought. That morning, Mom sat me down before school with this look on her face I'd never seen before. "Emma, there's something I need to tell you before tonight," she said, a coffee cup trembling slightly. "About your father." I froze. For 18 years, the story had been simple: he left when I was a baby. End of story. We didn't talk about it. "He didn't leave," she said quietly. "I made him leave." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean you made him?" "He's been around," she interrupted. "Closer than you think. And tonight, he's going to be at your party. I can't keep him away anymore." There was this homeless man who'd been on the corner near our neighborhood for years. Everyone knew him. Mr. Ray, the kids called him. He never asked for money aggressively. Just sat there with his cardboard sign and this gentle smile. I'd given him my lunch money a dozen times. He always said the same thing: "Thank you, sweetheart. Stay safe." Mom would tense up every time we drove past him. I thought she was just uncomfortable around homeless people. I never looked at his face long enough. I never saw it. By 6 p.m., our house was full of relatives and friends. Mom was a wreck. She kept checking the door, rearranging things that didn't need rearranging. "Mom, what's going on?" I whispered. "You said Dad was coming. Is he actually?" The doorbell rang. Every conversation in the room stopped. Mom's face went white. She opened the door. And there he was. Mr. Ray. The homeless man from the corner. Holding a birthday present wrapped in newspaper. "Hi, Emma," he said, his voice cracking. "I'm your father." The room exploded into whispers. But all I could hear was my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. "Get out." The words came out of my mouth before I could think. "Emma," Mom started. "You knew." I spun on her. "You knew that the man I gave my lunch money to was my father?" My dad, God, I couldn't even call him that, flinched like I'd hit him. "I can explain," Mom said, tears streaming down her face. "Please, just let me." "Explain what?" My voice was shaking. "That you let me walk past my own father like he was a stranger? That you let him live on the street while we were comfortable?" "It's not like that," she whispered. "Then what is it like?" My Uncle Tom, Mom's brother, stepped forward. "Your father had a breakdown, Emma," he said gently. 12 years ago. He was diagnosed with severe schizophrenia. The room went silent. "He became dangerous," Tom continued. "Not violent, but unpredictable. He'd leave the house for days. Forget where he lived. Your mother tried everything: medication, therapy, hospitalizations, but he kept refusing treatment." I looked at the man by the door. My father. He was crying silently. "I scared you," he said to me directly. "When you were 6. I had an episode. I didn't recognize your mother, and I frightened you so badly you hid in your closet for hours." My breath caught. I remembered that. A memory I'd buried. A man screaming that strangers were in his house. Mom pulling me away. "Your mother gave me a choice," Dad continued. "Get treatment and be part of your life, or leave." I couldn't get treatment, Emma. The medications made me not me. I couldn't think. Couldn't feel. So I chose to leave. "But why stay close?" I whispered. "Why torture yourself watching me grow up?" "Because I couldn't leave completely," he said. "I know what I am. I know I'm sick. But you're my daughter. I needed to see that you were okay. Even if it was from a distance. Even if you never knew. Mom collapsed into a chair, sobbing. I paid him, she admitted. Every month. I'd bring him money, food, clean clothes. He refused to live anywhere with a roof. Said the walls made the voices worse. So I let him stay on that corner where I could check on him. I didn't want his money for nothing, Dad added. So I watched over you. Every day you walked to school, I made sure you were safe. When that man followed you home last year, I was the one who called the police. I felt like the floor had disappeared beneath me. Why tell me now? I asked. Why ruin my birthday? Because you're 18, Mom said. You're an adult. You deserve to know. And he's getting worse, Emma. His condition is deteriorating. I couldn't let him disappear without you knowing the truth. I looked at my father. Really looked at him. He was thin. Malnourished. His hands shook constantly. His eyes darted around the room like he was seeing things I couldn't. But when he looked at me, his gaze was clear. Focused. Full of love. I'm sorry, he whispered. For everything I couldn't be. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all those times I'd walked past him. How he always seemed to be there when I needed something. The time I dropped my wallet and he'd guarded it until I came back. The time he'd given a creepy guy directions away from me. He'd been protecting me all along. But he'd also chosen his illness over me. Chosen to live on the street rather than take medication that might have let him be a real father. Was that brave or selfish? I didn't know. The next morning, I found a letter on our porch. My hand shook as I read it. It was from my father. Written in shaky handwriting. Emma, I know you're angry. You should be. I made choices that hurt you, and I'll never forgive myself for that. But I need you to understand something, the medications didn't just make me a not me. They made me not exist. I couldn't write. Couldn't think. Couldn't feel love. And the one thing that kept me alive all these years was loving you. Even from far away. I chose to feel everything, the pain, the voices, the fear, because the alternative was feeling nothing at all, including my love for you. That might make me selfish. It might make me a bad father. But it's the truth. I'm leaving town today. You won't see me on that corner anymore. But know this, every day of your life, I was there. And I was proud. So proud. Be happy, sweetheart. That's all I ever wanted. I ran to that corner faster than I'd ever run in my life. But he was gone. Just an empty spot against the brick wall where he used to sit. A woman walking her dog stopped. Looking for Ray, she asked. He left early this morning. Heading north, I think. My chest felt like it was caving in. When I got home, Mom was on the phone. Her face was white. He's at County Hospital, she said. He collapsed at the bus station. Emma, he's been refusing treatment because he was saving the money I gave him. For you. For college. She handed me a bank book. 18 years of deposits. Almost $40,000. Every cent she'd ever given him, he'd saved. For me. I sat beside his bed while he slept. The doctors said he was severely malnourished. That his condition had deteriorated because he'd been spending money on food for other homeless people instead of himself. When he woke up, he looked surprised to see me. I thought you hated me, he whispered. I did, I said honestly. For about 12 hours. I held up the bank book. Why? Because, he said, his eyes filling with tears, I couldn't give you a father. But maybe I could give you a future. It took 6 months of intense treatment, but Dad finally agreed to try new medications. Not because they made him feel normal, they didn't. but because the doctors found a combination that let him think clearly while still feeling like himself. He lives in a small apartment now. Mom helped him get it. I visit twice a week. He's not cured. He never will be. Some days are harder than others. Some days the voices come back and he can barely look at me. But he's trying. And that's what I learned that 18th birthday: love isn't always pretty. It's not always sane or rational or easy to understand. Sometimes love is a sick man sitting on a street corner for 12 years just to make sure his daughter gets to school safely. Sometimes love is imperfect, broken, and devastating. But it's still love. And now I know I've always been loved. Even when I couldn't see it. Especially when I couldn't see it. My father isn't a madman. He's just a man who loved me the only way his broken mind would allow. And maybe that's the sanest thing of all.